So when I take a look at this, I'm just going to sketch out just a little bit to see where I want to place this as far as the dimension goes, you know, approximating it that way. This is the template. Again, it does have the measurements for the major axis on one side, minor axis on the other. So first I'm just going to take a look at the base of it. And I know it's just going to be into the front. I'm kind of looking at some of the measurements here. I'm kind of letting it fade away. While I still have this, I'm going to keep and make a mark on the center point here. And just extend this. This is the center line. And so when I take a look at that's going to be the base, taking a look at a little bit larger one, just set this off to the side here. And that's the one I'm going to make just a little bit larger here. So I can see it right on this ellipse. If I want to use this one right here, I can see that it is going to be a little bit bigger and fit my purpose. So I just have to sketch it up to the top here. Okay. And off to the side, I'm just going to write 2 5/8 because that's the measurement that's right here. So that's the overall piece. And then I can just use the edge of the template to put a connection line on the tangent of these two. Do the same on this side. And pretty much have this entire section completed. The only thing that's different is the edges of this, and according to the reference photo, kind of tapers it off on that side. If I can see that, I can go through this and almost treat this like a wireframe sketch on the computer where these would be faceted across. There is a couple items on the inside of this. So I'm just going to indicate those. And as far as the edge, there is an edge to this, so 2 5/8. If I go 2 3/4, it's pretty close. And I might go ahead and place that in there. But instead of making it larger, I'm just going to go the opposite direction. And I still have the center line, so just to show you this, if this is going to be on the same axis, would be a good way to bring this across. I already have the center line for the minor axis. Here's going major, right across. And just to show it to you, put a light line across. 2 5/8 is here, 2 1/2 is a little bit just the right amount, so I just have to look for the crosshair and just line that up, and that's going to be my interior one. And I know that's going to be a detail, so I'm just going to give it a nice crisp line. So there you can kind of see that edge brought into it. So now it's just a matter of shading it. It wasn't that complicated of a shape, but just kind of giving you that look. And when you do take a look at this, you can kind of see the overall sketch of this. Now this is the part where it'll be a little loose all the way through, kind of tapering the shadow of this. And over here is a little bit more of the highlight. It's almost a similar interior, just thinking of it almost like a gradient off of the computer when you take a look at the combination of your drawing to computer and back and forth again. The light is the overall light within this particular restaurant. So it tapers in there, so I have to give a little bit of value down here. And you start to shade that section. Now you don't necessarily need to use the template, just want to introduce this to you so you can see it. Not everybody has them locked, they've come out of fashion. Most of the computer drawing doesn't really need a template, but if you're doing something that isn't connected to it. So again, there'll be a few other objects, so as you do the composition of how you have your drawing, try to take a look at it and set that up. And also in this case, I'm looking for the darkest value, which is probably right at this corner. And that way it sets up the whole tonal range of this drawing. Blending that across. And these are actually packets of sugar. where it hits. Even like the line drawing is going to give it a darker line right at the base of that, just to show it. Now again, you have your straight edge. The template's a little thin, so if you want to find the edge of this, you know, good quick commercial trick to just heavy up that line. And try to get as smooth of a gradient in these reflected tones as it happens to be. Build this up. Now even the pieces that are inside, not all the photos have the look of the interior items, so you have to kind of concede that. Going dark to light. It also has a little reflection backed up there. On paper, the texture of the paper is going to be tooth surfaced, and the more you push, if you leave it light, it'll let the light of the paper, because of the texture, show through. And the more you push, you're pushing down the texture of the paper and getting it solid graphite there. So you want to be sensitive to that particular section there. And again, when I look at this, the front of this actually is a little darker. So again, trying to build up the tonal range here. And you can also use your straight edge again to shade this. So by using the template and then the straight edge to help you, helps you guide it to make it nice and straight. Building that section up there. Again, if you remember, you had the measurement down, you can even put the template back. Right like so. And shade it like that. All kinds of possibilities that you can think of here. And this template idea of drawing, and you get into Photoshop, there's also ways to do the same idea when you're drawing using a digital application. So you want to be thinking of that. Okay. So give that a try, and if you want to use a template, you can. If you don't, then just use the same method of dividing the ellipse. So for example, if this was the case, this would be the elliptical approach. So here's this kind of a space that you can draw in this rectangle, kind of using perspective, crossing the diagonals to get the edges. That'll give you these 4 points. And this distance, that's where it would be divided into a third, transferred across, back, just like in perspective. And there would be an octagon type shape in perspective. That would be that rectangle turned into an ellipse. Okay?